to Illuminate, Navigate, Radiate, a journey of emotional resilience. I'm your host, Brandon, and welcome to our first topic discussion in about a month. I really just kind of used July to showcase a lot of different journey segments, a lot of different people. I had some great guests on that talked about their different struggles, their different journeys, their different ways that they pursued healing, that they got to that healing process, and what they do to maintain that, or what they did early on to kind of get the ball rolling with that healing journey, with that recovery journey, depending on what it was that they were going through. So I would definitely say go check some of those out. Some really great journey segments over the last couple weeks. And then coming back on with these topic discussions, gonna have some great guests coming up on these in the next couple weeks, as well as our August series starting back up on Friday as well. So a lot of good stuff coming. We've hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. That was pretty cool. Going into this, not really sure what I wanted to do with it besides talk about mental health stuff, besides bring awareness to different ways that people struggle. And the fact, that there's still stigma behind it. There's still a lot of times where we hold that in. We don't really talk about it. And we do that with a lot of different things. And so I just wanted to bring more awareness to that and make people a little more comfortable with sharing their stories. It will give people that platform, as well as have other people hear many different styles of recovery, many different journeys of struggle to happiness to success, whatever word you want to use, but really just bring a more comfort level to sharing those vulnerabilities and finding better ways to live. And I thought it would be a really good segment to come into, not doing a topic discussion in a while is early recovery. And my big, experience with that was definitely drugs, but I think early recovery can be related to whatever healing journey we on. Those first few months of trying to change our life, of trying to, get over bad behaviors, negative thought patterns, those first few months of really trying to change our life from whatever it was that was holding us back, that was making us miserable, that was putting us in those dark places. Those first few months are so crucial in getting better and being able to stay on that path, being able to get through those early road bumps, being able to get past those early challenges and have resilience through that to get to where we want to be in life. And those early days are so crucial in recovery. I look at my first few days in recovery and it was brutal. I was going through withdrawals pretty intensely. That was the first time I'd gotten clean from everything in many, many years. And not only were the physical withdrawals intense, the emotional withdrawals were intense. The feelings and emotions that were just pouring back into me, I didn't know how to handle that. All these thoughts, all these things coming back into my head that I pushed down deep for a long, long time. And so, besides the physical aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it was just as brutal. It kept me crying for days. I didn't sleep for days, and it was just a really intense couple days. But getting through that first, I'd say probably about week, to where my body started to calm down at least a little bit, to where I could start to process some of my thoughts. Gave me that clear head, gave me those clear thoughts to be able to think about whether I really wanted to do this or not, whether I really wanted to try to change my life. And there was different thoughts I'd go back and forth with. Was, I was doing heroin, I was doing hard drugs, and so I was thought, well, okay, when I get out of here, I could go back to drinking, I could go back to smoking, that's not a big deal. And as that process went on, especially being in the rehab center, it was super structured, and it was, obviously people are watching you all the time, and I didn't have the resources I did back home. And being in that environment, really helped me get out of that fog that I was in for a long time. And then not only did it get me out of that fog, but it helped me start to find a new way to think, find a new way to process emotions, find a new way to look at my life and realize I could get something better out of it. I could get something more out of it. I didn't have to live in the misery and the pain that I was so comfortable in for so many years. I could actually find something new, which was a super uncomfortable thought for me, because I liked the misery and pain for a long time. I liked the drama and the craziness of the lifestyle I was living. That was comfort to me. And so being faced with this calm environment, being faced with this environment that pushed me to look my demons in the eyes and not put my head down and not run away from them and not push them away, but look them in the eyes and figure out a way to handle them, figure out a way to challenge them, figure out a way to fight back against them. That environment gave me a new way to live. So those early days of recovery are so important. Whether you're recovering from drugs, whether you're trying to stop drinking, whether you're just trying to change some bad behaviors that put you in the dark places, those early days are going to be so vital, and they're going to be hard. They're going to be uncomfortable. But you really have to be able to try to push through them. You really have to find whatever you can to get past those early days. Start to change those behaviors. Start to change that thought pattern, and just give yourself a chance to see something. Because when we're in recovery, when we are healing from anything, what we're really trying to do is look for a new way to live. Whether we got sick and tired of being sick and tired, whether we were forced into it, through law enforcement or through family, whether we were just pushed into a new direction. That's usually what we're trying to do. We're trying to find a new way to live, no matter what we're recovering from. We're just tired of destroying our lives over and over and over again. And it gets exhausting. And so when we're looking for a new way to live, we have to find those different things that bring us happiness, bring us our passions back, make us feel alive again. And early on, that can be anything. It can be exercise, it can be meditation, it can be journaling, it can be therapy, it can just be, being able to interact with people without being under the influence, or being able to interact with people without being in your own head, without having your own thoughts racing about, what they're thinking or how you're feeling, and just be in that moment with somebody. And that's what's special about any recovery journey, is that want to find a new way to live. Because once we get that want, once we get that little spark lit, that's where that opportunity starts. That's where that chance to change our lives actually begins. And you have to hold on to that thought, because you're going to be faced with a lot of conflicting emotions. You're going to be faced with a lot of triggers. You're going to be faced with all those underlying things that you were either suppressing, or that you were running from, or that you just didn't want to deal with. All those things are going to come back up, and they're going to be intense, especially if you were using for a long time, or you were running from a long time. Then all that's just going to come flowing back into your mind, flowing back into your heart, flowing back into your soul. And you're going to probably have to lean on some people during. I know for me, it was people in the rehab center with me. It was my therapist in the rehab center. It was just, those different role models that I could find in that environment that said, hey, like, I'm really struggling tonight. This is what's on my mind, and getting it out there. And also just kind of facing some of those things right away. There was one thing that I was dealing with, and my therapist asked me, do you want to deal with this right now? Because it was only a couple days after I got clean. And it's like, yeah, like, if I really want to do this, I got to put my all into it. So you're going to deal with a lot of those things coming back up, and be prepared for it. And when I say prepared, really, I guess I just mean aware. Because it's really hard to be prepared for things that you haven't dealt with in a long time. But if you're aware that those are going to come back up, if you're aware that it's going to be a struggle, then you give yourself that chance to breathe. Then you're not so thrown off when it comes up, and that you can't handle it in a positive way. And that was a big thing for me, is I didn't know how to handle things in a positive way. But once I gave myself that little bit of slack, and was honest with myself and said, yeah, like, the only way you dealt with emotions and feelings for the last 10, 15 years was drugs and alcohol. So this isn't going to be easy. And once I realized that, and told myself that's how it was going to be, I gave myself some grace in struggling when those feelings came up, when those emotions came up. And I gave myself a little bit more time to process through them, instead of being like, oh, I should feel better right away because I'm not using drugs. It was way more than just a drug. So giving yourself some grace in those moments is going to be critical to getting through those tough spots. And not only is it the physical and emotional side of it, but the social side of it can be really tough as well. If you're somebody who is using, changing your circle and removing certain people from your life is going to be a big step to take. Sometimes we have to create space between family members, between really good friends, between, just going out and being in environments where using's encouraged, or where people are gonna put that in your face and tempt you with it. Early on, maybe that's not the best places to be. I know when I got out of rehab, got rid of my old phone, changed my phone number, and I really didn't talk to anybody. That I was using with. I had no way to connect with them, and that was really big for me, because then I didn't have those people that was like, hey, you want to go get high? Or I wasn't able to text somebody and be like, hey, you want to go get high? And it can feel isolating. When you're so used to running with certain people, maybe you just don't even have people in your life anymore that don't live in misery, that don't live in that type of lifestyle that you're trying to get away from. And so you have to rebuild that. And that takes time. And so those early days of trying to heal from something, of trying to change your life, it can be really isolating unless you have good people around you, which fortunately, some of us do, but some of us don't. And so we have to be able to seek out those positive relationships, whether that's with a therapist, whether that's in support groups, whatever it is for you, to be able to build a new social circle, to where you're comfortable connecting with certain people and in certain environments. And in those first, few weeks, few months, the biggest thing to seek out is new coping tools, is new ways to cope with life. Because life doesn't care that you're in recovery. Life doesn't care that you're in a really vulnerable moment. Life doesn't care that you're struggling. Life is going to throw life shit at you all day, every single day. And finding those new ways to cope is how we're going to get past those challenges. We have to learn to live on life's terms, which is something I never like to do. I like to try to make my own terms. And if life threw something at me that I didn't like, I ran away from it, I dodged it, I went somewhere else, or I manipulated it into something I wanted out of it. And that really just continued to destroy my life. And when we can learn how to deal with life on life's terms, that's where life can get better, because then we're not self-destructing when things don't go our way. We're not self-destructing when something pops up and throws us a curveball and creates more of a struggle. We're able to see it for what it is. We're able to see how we can react, how we can respond to it. We are able to see our own actions that maybe cause some of that. But most of all, we're able to cope with it, deal with it, and continue our lives. And so finding those things that are going to do that for you is so important. And that's why I like doing what I do. I like talking to different people about healing and what they did early on, because I'm a firm believer in that there are a million ways to recover. There are a million ways to heal. And there's so many different things that we can go and try. And I know at points in my life, I tried one thing to get better, and whether that was moving away, whether that was trying to gain a new relationship, whether that was trying to go get back into soccer or college, whenever I tried one thing and it didn't work out, I fell apart. Things got worse, because that one thing that I thought was going to save my life, or that one thing that I thought was going to make me happy, didn't. So fuck it, I'm back out. And when you're just learning, whether you're 15, whether you're 25, whether you're 40, 60, 70, it's never too late to try to get better. And when you're just learning to do that, you have to give yourself many options. Whether that is, trying a new job, whether that is reconnecting with an old family member or a person in your life. Whether that's meditation, whether that's coloring, whether that's exercise, whether that's, getting involved into a hobby or a passion that you had when you were younger, or finding a new hobby and passion. Passion is so critical to being happy in life. Finding what drives us, what our purpose is, what we want to be a part of, can make life 100 times better. It doesn't matter if you're miserable at a job or miserable in certain aspects of life. If you have that passion that drives you, it helps you get through some of those really tough things. It helps you realize that there's more to life than misery, and it can keep you going in dark moments. So, find those things that you're passionate about. Find those different things that you can use to help you heal. And once you build up that toolbox, once you create a plethora of options, when one thing doesn't work, you pick up another. If that thing doesn't work, you go to another. If that thing is not working anymore, you change it up and do something else. But it's so big in not failing in that first one, not going to that one person that you wanted to call, not going on a jog and realize that it's not working. But it gives us so many options to say, okay, well, this one isn't working, I'm going to do something else. Instead of saying, well, this one isn't working, so I'm going to go fuck up my life again. And so finding those coping skills and those tools, keep searching for them. Find out what works, find out what doesn't work for you. And it's going to change as you go on in your recovery journey. And I know mine sure have over the 9.5 years almost that I've been clean now. It's going to change, and be okay with that change. Life is all about change and adapting. It's never going to be the same. Sometimes we watch that old movie, or we hear that old song, or around those old peoples, or go back to somewhere we used to live, and we reminisce about how good we thought life was then, how simple maybe life was then. And it's always nice to be able to do that. But if things never changed, if we never had to adapt, those memories wouldn't be the same. Because we can look back at those and realize, yeah, life has changed since then, so that's special to me. Just like in 10 years, we're going to do it again. 15 years, we're going to do it again. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to see those good moments because we don't always realize, what we're in and the moment that's leading up to a big change in our life, or the moment that's bringing us something special in our life. And so be okay with that change. Be okay to adapt. Be flexible to adapt, where if something's not going your way in that day, that week, that month, you're able to keep rolling with it. You're able to keep finding different ways to keep moving forward and keep getting past those hard spots. And, as you tackle that journey of early recovery, the biggest thing I want to say is just give yourself that chance. Don't give up on yourself too early. It's so easy to give up that first day, that first week, even that first month. It's so easy to give up because shit's going to be hard. Emotions are going to be running wild. Life's going to be throwing all types of shit at you. It's going to be difficult, and probably haven't been used to dealing with difficult things in positive ways. So give yourself that chance. Give yourself that break to push through those hard moments and realize it's not going to be bad forever. Life never is bad forever. There's always something coming. And as long as we keep giving ourselves a chance to get there, we're going to see what it was that was coming for us. So keep going. Stay positive. Keep finding different ways to heal. Like I said, I got plenty of examples on my channel now of some really amazing people that have come on and were vulnerable and shared their stories. And if you just need some words of hope or inspiration, go check some of those out. If you need to reach out, reach out. I'm more than willing to do whatever I can to help you, no matter where you're from, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're trying to accomplish. It's all about positivity. It's all about helping each other try to be better. There's so many things that pull us down. There's so many negativity. There's so many atmospheres of life where we just want to beat each other up. We want to look at the next person and be more successful than them. We want to look at the next person and pull them down to our level. We want to look at the next person and just insult them. When in reality, if we were happy when other people were succeeding, if we pulled people up to our level, and if we pushed each other at the same time to get to somewhere amazing, we'd be happier people. It's all about human connection, and it's all about wanting to see people succeed. That can bring a smile to your face. When you genuinely want that, when you genuinely want to see people happy, and you want to bring them things that will make them happy, you will be happy. So, thank you again for joining me. Thank you again for listening to another episode. Like, subscribe, share, whatever it is that we do on these platforms. But that's really all I want to do. I want to try to bring a different light of positivity, a different light of healing, a different avenue to building a community of support. And that's why we're here. So, stay along, keep joining in, keep participating, and let's keep getting better together. It's been Illuminate, Navigate, Radiate. Have a great rest of your day.